this is not spring chicken. When we were talking about the stimulus package at the gifting suite, we were talking about the $70,000 gifting suite from, was it the Tom James Company? And of course, the material by Howard and Sherry. Yeah, Sherry. Howard and Sherry. When we were talking about a stimulus package. Excuse me. But because the stimulus package, boy, how many stimulus...
See, that's why they don't call it the stimulus package. Because nobody can say it multiple times.
How many stimulus packages do you need? Good question. I guess it depends on what we're talking about.
3 is not enough.
Yeah, three is not enough. But for now, we'll bring Oldecam on for comments on the headlines of today.
This one's a shocker. This one, the world. No one in the United States could have believed this whatsoever. In a shocker to the Obama administration, Iran is building a nuclear weapon. I think everybody in the world, but the liberal Democrats understood that that was Iran's purpose in nuclear, building the reactors and everything. Basically, the recession bailout pushed U.S. deficit to a record. Well, yeah, because they're spending ungodly amounts of money, and they say, well, the Republicans say they have no means of paying for it. Yes, they do. The alternative tax is being dropped. The Bush tax cuts are being dropped, and they are going to raid the defense fund. So that pays for a lot of their spending right there, folks. Of course, it's not going to help you out any, but who cares? Basically, retail sales up 1% in January. Retail sales are up 1% because you see all those closeout sales where the business declared bankruptcy. People are going in and buying things on these sales. It doesn't mean that the business, that the sales actually went up. It just meant that people are taking advantage of bargains. Here's Maine's GOP senators are key to Obama's agenda. They also found out today that there is a movement now for the recall of both Snow and Collins, which basically, I had one of the men said in charge of the movement, we elected 2 Republicans. If we'd have wanted 2 Democrats, we would have elected Democrats to the spot. See, our inspector, he's from Pennsylvania, he doesn't care because he knows that he's going to lose his seat anyway, so. Here's another shocker. In Pakistan, U.S. Special Envoy finds discontent with President Obama's diplomacy. Well, the diplomacy is terrorists are simply misunderstood people, and there is no, and they are alleged terrorists. Asian stocks down amid pessimism over U.S. plan. Well, our stock is now down. I mean, basically, you figure if they use an inversion program to try to make our stocks look up when they go down, the fact that they're still well below 8,000 means that our stock market is really tanking on all of this news. And this is going to, majority of Americans demand criminal investigation of Bush, and they want him tried for his crimes against the people of this world. Of course, it was taken by the ACLU, and the neat thing about surveying, because I took a mass communication course in it, you can basically determine the outcome of the survey by going to areas to talk to people that you know have the views that you trying to get support for. Here's one. $13 a week more in people's paychecks when withholding tables are adjusted in late spring. Of course, this is for the people that actually aren't paying taxes to begin with, but you're going to give them $13 a week more, which I don't know how that works, but I do know that they have said that it doesn't amount to the cost of a medium HD TV, which basically is going to help the economy, period, because those companies are all going out of business because they don't have any money. Democrats want in funding for not only Iraq but Afghanistan and American troops in Asia. Well, they need the money for their social programs. Remember, folks, as Mark Twain said, you often don't get the politician you want, but you get the politician that you deserve. So for, this 2 years is going to be bad, but the 2 years that's going to follow when the Republicans come back in, you talk about an ungodly mess, because there's no one more vindictive than a Republican. I keep telling people that. With 69% approval rate, Obama has political firepower. Well, a little 21 days ago he had 80% approval rate. Well, what people see of Mr. Obama, they don't like. Here's another one. 67 computers missing from nuclear weapons lab. Well, if you know anything about anything that does with the government, it's not unusual to have things missing. I mean, I remember in the military, the first thing that people would do was they would throw away things that had to be accounted for, and they just simply write them up as being available. Japan's pioneered to cut 10,000 jobs globally, a lot of them in this country, because people are not buying high-def television sets like they thought they would, and the things that the Pioneer systems that are going into automobiles are not selling because people aren't buying automobiles. Why aren't they buying automobiles? Why aren't they buying high-def stuff? Because you can't get the credit to buy one of the things, that's why. And not since the Civil War has our country been so divided. Well, you know, Mr. Obama and the Democrats were elected to bring an end to this partisanship stuff, and when you talk, all you can get is 3 left-wing Republican senators to agree on a plan of which they all got skinned on, and they're all basically refusing to admit they got taken. You know, that's not bipartisanship, folks. We got 2 big satellites collide 500 miles over Siberia. Basically, the odds of those satellites colliding with one another are, they said, statistically the same as Obama's stimulus plan working. You know, slim and none. Basically, billions of dollars are going into this stimulus plan for clean water and parks. The problem is that, as one of the people I heard talking yesterday that works in the business says, it's going to take 18 months to 5 years to get the permitting needed to do any of this stuff. So there's stimulus money that goes nowhere except the bureaucracies to getting it ready. Peanut company owner refused to testify to Congress. If I'm going to go to jail for murder, I think I would refuse to testify also. Oil falls as investors pull inventories, and the fact that most of the people around the world realize that the stimulus program does nothing to help people buy anything, so therefore, you know, oil is going to continue to go down. The prices of gas are going to go up, but the cost of a barrel is going to go down. Basically, the GM design head says cuts won't compromise quality. Well, because they don't worry about it, because the federal government's going to design the cars for you. I mean, do you know that little golf cart thing that you see people riding around in? That's what Al Gore wants, and I think that Al Gore is going to be, there's talk about making him the design czar for the auto industry. The big particle collider is to restart in September. This is the one they said will bring an end to the world if it actually works, you know. But I think they said Facebook's appraisal pegs company value at $3.7 billion. Well, you know, you ought to see what they value our little company as. Doesn't mean it's worth anything, but that's what they value it as. Try to get somebody to pay that. Dish Network CEO tries to one-up Cirrus. Well, they own like $400 million of the company. I mean, they're big investors in it, so it's more likely that they're going to get it than DirecTV. Sobering results for cost-cutting Medicare project. Well, there's no such thing as cost-cutting when you're a Fed. You figure out ways to add more money to the project in order to save money. Huge study boosts disappointment on multivitamins. We'll put it this way. There was never a doctor that liked anything that didn't cost the customer money. If you can do what they do for less money, they automatically disapprove of it. All I know is that I know people that basically shovel vitamins in their face. That, you know, I'm a senior citizen. I mean, honestly, I'm approaching my 8th decade on this planet in 1 year. I know people that are 20 years older than I am that look like they could go, you know, fight a bear with a stick. Asian budget airlines eye growth, but they have trade barriers. Well, they're not going to be able to get into this country because they don't follow the same standards that are required by our country to fly into this country. Southwest Airlines beginning to test internet access. Well, basically, they tell you you're not to use this stuff on airplanes, and then they want to put internet on the airplanes, which basically, to me, is worse than using a credit cell phone. But here's the, Monty Bubblism from Marx with the Animal Kingdom. You can call it anything you want, but stimulus must trigger a physical or behavioral change, and more the same is not stimulus. Now you know what a stimulus is. Spending isn't stimulus, folks. That's what a stimulus is.